All right, so in this lesson, we're going to go ahead and set up our first person controller. In the last tutorial, we went ahead and imported in some assets. What I noticed though, when I was going through these just a moment ago, is inside of this, I believe in the art folder that we imported, we created this NPC, but we also have this Poly Blacksmiths folder with this TT Citizens demo. And inside of this, they have a more police and then that same, I believe, female character. And so inside of the materials, we may want to do, let's see, MCAR, MCity. Just trying to see where here we go, materials. So here's these two, which I'm assuming are essentially the same textures as the one that we converted before. So what we can do with these is essentially, let's see, materials. I'm going to go ahead and just double check that there's not anything different like between these models. So here's female. These are the animations essentially. Models, here we go. It looks like it's the same except we get the additional zombie. So it's good that we downloaded it. So go ahead and delete this Polygon Blacksmith folder. I don't think it has anything in here that we need outside of that we don't already have inside of our NPC folders here. So like just double checking to make sure that's all clear. All right, the next thing I want to do is, remember, this is a first person shooter game. And I think for really talking about game user experience, it's great to look at it from the first person connection. And we're going to actually set this up so that it works with VR as well. So, and again, the focus of this class is really about giving the person, it's talking about and learning about game user experience. And the focus is on the user, the end user, instead of maybe just learning some programming mechanics or some game design philosophies, which you'll get in here anyway. All right, so enough chitter chatter. Let's keep moving forward. The scene that we're going to use is, if we go inside of scenes here, we have a demo scene. So if I double click this, I'm going to hit don't save. You can see they give us a pretty nice demo scene to work with. Now, as I mentioned, you can buy additional assets. We can also make them. So we installed this Pro Builder here. And if you took the level design class, you get a little bit of an understanding, a nice basic understanding of how to build levels and stuff. But we don't really need a lot for this class, essentially. Like, let me delete that. So for example, like say we need a cube here, we can just continuously block this out. We can just kind of like drop a building at the end here, and then that kind of blocks it out. And then we can do some modeling, and which we do essentially in the game user experience. But I think this is a nice first section to start to, build our level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at like some of these pieces. Like for example, we have this building here. I can hit Control D here and just move it here, and that further blocks it out. And then we'll just start to put up like barriers to stop people from going in certain sections. We can hit Control D here, maybe select these, but actually we could probably just select all of this with these two, or these four rather. Hit Control D. I'm holding Control to snap it and just move it down here, just kind of expanding our world. So um, it's not terribly difficult when you have really nice modular assets like the ones they gave us. So for now, our main gameplay is going to handle on this strip here that we just created. And we'll extend the universe. So let's go ahead and do the same thing this way. I'm going to grab this, but we're going to probably block off this street. So just kind of something like that. And then same thing going back here. Hit Control D, holding Control and just snapping that this way. Probably get rid of a couple of these guys and just bring this forward a little bit. Actually, we probably place it here. So let's delete this. So just get comfortable with your scene and placing assets. And we might have to tweak it a little bit. Okay, so now we have a fully fleshed out four corners. We're going to need a first person controller to place our character in. So we're going to block off the street essentially at each one of these endpoints. And let's go ahead also and just, you have your demo scene here. I'm just going to save this, go to Save As, and go into that scenes folder and just name this level 01. And the difference between that is you could see we have two scenes folders. We have this scenes folder that's in our art assets, and then we have a scenes folder out here. So inside of the scenes folder in your art assets folder, you can definitely use that for any kind of like test bed stuff. But outside of here, this is going to be where our real scenes are, like our main menu and stuff like that. Okay, so now that we're going to use their default scene, and again, you could go ahead and edit these models in Blender as well. Or what's really neat um, is say like you have these boxes and you want to tweak them. You can go into Pro Builder here. You can click this Pro Builderize button, and it'll turn it into a mesh that you can actually modify. So for example, like, I could select this face, hold shift, and now I'm actually modeling inside of here. Now you have to adjust the textures and stuff. And again, as I mentioned, if you've taken the level design course with me, you'll be a little bit more comfortable with that, but it's not necessary for this course. All right, so we have an environment, so I'm going to save that. Well, we need a first person character to walk around our environment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Window, and I'm going to click on Asset Store. I'm going to go ahead and import that in. Now, I do have tutorials on building your own and programming your own first person character. Let me know if you're interested in that. And sorry to be redundant, but in this class, our focus is just learning about how to create or engage with good game user experience. So talking about lighting, post-processing, things like that. So let's go ahead and click the asset stored here. All right, so at the top of my asset store here, I went ahead and typed in first person controller. I clicked on free assets here. And also under this rating section, I'm going to go ahead and just do 4 stars and above. Now, there's some pretty good ones in here. This one has 43 views. So you could look at these different ones. Unity Technology first person controller. Generally, anything by Unity Technology is what I want. And you could see starter assets updates a new character controller package, which is really nice. Free lightweight first and third person character base controllers. They can get kind of big because Unity packs in a lot of goodies. But we're really just interested in this one. And you could see here player, move, speed, rotation, jump. So anyway, I'm already signed in under my account. Make sure that you are too. I'm going to go ahead and click add to my assets. I'm going to hit open in Unity. And that should take us to our project. And it shows that starter assets is here. I'm going to go ahead and hit download. And I'm going to click on import. And now it says Unity package has a package manager dependencies. I'm going to go ahead and hit install and upgrade. Now there's an old input system which we've programmed in the past. This one happens to use the new one. And it requires us to restart the editor. The new input system is nice because, and if you take production 2 or 3, whatever with me, you'll see it in there. But you can go ahead and move the controllers or use a controller or thumbstick around. I'm going to go ahead and hit, do you want to enable the backends? I'm going to hit yes, and it'll require a restart. And again, the new input system is beautiful. You can do it for any console or whatever, and they have a nice setup for that. All right, now that my project restarted, if yours restarted and the package manager was not open, you want to go to Window and then do Package Manager again, and then you can see here that under My Assets here, I have starter assets at the very bottom here. You want to make sure you hit Import, and then interesting. It's doing it again. Oh, no, there we go. We're okay. Install, upgrade, and then just go ahead and hit the import button here. And let that import into your project. All right, now you can see we have a folder called Starter Assets. And if I expand that, you can see there's environment, first person controller, input system, all that stuff. So if we go into this first person controller folder, I'm going to go ahead and hit F to focus on this section here. I'm really interested, like I said, in focusing on just this section here, this middle section where my player will begin the game. So let's go ahead and try to, let's set up our first person. So here in our starter assets, go ahead and expand that. And sorry if there's a little bit of a jump in the video. I'm getting kind of interrupted a little bit, whether it's helping students with final projects or family stuff. But regardless, here's first person controller. And what I'm interested in is this nested parent unpack. So I'm going to drag that into my scene. Now, the next thing is I want to place my character in the center here, but my scene itself has a lot of different main cameras. And this unpack here comes with a main camera and all of the scripts you need to create a first-person controller. So I'm going to expand my scene here, and I'm just going to type in main. And you can see here that we have a few main cameras. We have this one, which we want, which is the little blue one, but these two, which give us 2 alternate views, which are pretty nice views, but we're not going to use those. Well, if we're going to do any, which I would love to, hopefully if we have time, is we're going to get into cinematics. Uh, we could set up our own separate cameras that can cut to, but for now, we're only interested in this main camera. The next thing I want to do is, and I kind of tucked all of my art assets, as you see, in the scene folder, and then I have my nested unpack out here. This is really just it's kind of like a game object with a prefab with a bunch of other prefabs underneath it that they give you to really just kind of look at to give you an idea of what your game, like of all the different assets. Like, we're not going to be using these controls, we're going to be using WASD, but I wanted to show you, they do right out of the gate give you this really cool, it's already set up for mobile. Oops, see how my character falls to the floor. Before I get into that, let's go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of these ground pieces, and let's see. And anything our character is going to jump on needs to be tagged ground. So let's go ahead and go to default here, add a layer, and then we're just going to name this ground. And it's just the way that they scripted it. So inside of our scene here, and really we could just right click on these, and let's see, create empty parent and call this light. And now we can even further break it down, and then all of this, which is the environment, we can click on default here and mark that as ground, and yes, change children. And now anything that this thing goes on, it won't fall through. Now I want to, let's see, kind of move this character over. Don't worry too much about this part. Here, let me delete this and then just drag this character, because the pivot point is way off. So I'm just going to drag this right in the center here. And let's see. Hopefully that's high enough. Where did I move him? Here, let's undo that. He's pretty high up there. What's going on? So hit F to focus. Yeah, it's because of this thing. Here, we'll come back to that. I'm going to go ahead and select demo block here, hit F to focus. The next thing is some of these have colliders, others don't. Just go into all of these demo crossings here and just make sure that you have a box layer. So I'm going to right click and hit remove component just to show you that like a lot of these don't have it. So shift select everything with the word demo in front of it. You can also type demo up here. And you want to select all that demo content. Oops. Let's move this down. Anything with the word demo except for these characters. And then go to add component, and you can even just do a mesh collider. And then that way, if you look at it like this building, for instance, it's got a little bit more complexity than just a box, but these are more expensive. But you can see here that, let's see, here's our mesh collider. Let's see if we turn on gizmos, you could see that a little better. Interesting. Well, let's see what happens. Okay, so there's our demo stuff. I'm gonna hit X to close that out. And hopefully that worked okay. And then in our nested prefab here, what we want to do, let's close this out, is we want to unpack this so we can grab these elements and remove them. So I'm going to right click on this, go to prefab, and I'm going to hit unpack. And then I'm going to grab these elements here and just uncheck them, and then I'm going to delete this nested parent unpack. Now what we have is, if I select all of this, you can see there's my character, but I don't want this UI. But let's go ahead and select all of this. And actually, let's leave the UI stuff alone. Let's just select these three, and then we'll move it into the center of our world. And as I mentioned before, each one of these needs to be marked as grounded, so make sure, otherwise your character is going to fall through the floor. But let's shrink that again. And let's just position our player capsule here. And he's pretty huge. I mean, like, we can scale him down a bit, depending, because we want to, for scale. If I move him down to the floor, let's rotate him. We don't want him to be a giant compared to this car. So let's do 0.2.2. Makes a little bit better sense, but I don't know how far he hits the floor. So let's hit play here. And our character should not fall through the floor. Here we go. And actually, he's very tiny. And it looks like this might be missing. So it fell through something. Let's see, ground. We'll go with, actually, let's just try 111, see how crazy that is. Then I'm also going to pay attention to, yeah, he's pretty big. We'll probably go 0.5. And yeah, he falls through there. So looks like this is marked as ground. He still manages to fall through there. There's probably a break in something here. And I wonder if we just, let's see, crossing and asphalt. If we grab all of those, we remove this, and we just make them all box colliders. I wonder if that'll have less of a, and, ooh, that does not look good because we need to edit this so that it matches that area. Let's see if we just select this and then add a box collider there. Ah, I see the issue. Okay. So each one of these have like a nested prefab. So I'll show you something. So this up here is the prefab, but this is the actual mesh. So if I go in here and I add a box collider, you can see it conforms to the shape. That's this green area here, where the other one was just to the empty game object. So what we can do is, let's see if we can right click and expand all prefabs. Let's see. I know there's a way to do like something with the children or something. I'm gonna undo that, but what I want you to do on your own, kind of part of your homework, is to go through and just expand each one of these, and then just select the asphalt B underneath. Actually, here I got a better idea. Just select the asphalt B, copy that, paste it in here, and there's all of our asphalt Bs, and then just add a component, which is the box collider. Now this one might have two, no. And then let's make sure. I'm just going to cycle through, make sure I got all the mesh colliders off of these. Yep. This is the one with the two box colliders right here. So remove that component. All right. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So now, in theory, let's press play. Yeah. So it's not, it wasn't, the reason he was falling through the floor is the other one was reading it. So now we have that. And also, you could see we already have these mobile controls for jumping and stuff in here. I'm not really, again, I'm not interested in this for being for mobile. We will make a mobile game when we do our group project, but I'm going to go ahead and select each one of these. And this group project being like if you guys take another game class with me in the future. I'm just going to delete these two. I don't need the UI event system or these. I really just need that character. And I think for the size of my capsule here, I'm just going to go with 0.5 in each one of these X, Y's, and Z's for scale. Now when I press play, we have our player character set up. He's a smaller person, maybe 0.7, but overall, you could see if we expand our game view here. Now, if you're not seeing the same thing as me, we can go to layout and just do 2x3 split. And then this will give you the same view that I have. And yeah, so just on your own, adjust that. If you don't like how fast the player moves, you could see here, there is a jump height, which is 12. There's a gravity, which is -15. And we could see about setting up all that if it's not currently working. Something else I do after layout by 2x3 is I drag the project view underneath, and I usually make this a single one-column layout. And so let's go ahead and hit Control S to save level 1. And I know this is a little bit longer of a video, but hopefully you got a lot out of it. And if you have questions, email me. If you need help with your homework, let me know. And yeah, we're just going to keep plugging along.